3 ways you can make your thoughts less troublesome. Episode number 16. Hi, I'm Clarinda, and you are listening to the Feel Light, Mind, and Body podcast, created for women like you. Women who are experiencing success in so many areas of life, but are struggling with weight loss, stress eating, and decreased energy. Losing weight can feel hard, heavy, and restrictive. That's why every week I will be offering you a different perspective, tips, encouragement, and a unique approach so that you can feel lighter in your mind and body rather than feeling deprived, frustrated, or discouraged. What if you could feel free, yet in control around food for the rest of your life? What if you could enjoy your experience of losing weight and getting healthier? You absolutely can. You're in the right place. Take this time for yourself and let's dive in. Ever have those days or long, stressful periods of time when you feel heavier mentally, maybe even more so than physically? I'm raising my hand with you, my friend. As you probably know, the mind and body usually go hand in hand. Maybe you are a doer and a giver like me. So on top of the exhaustion and heaviness is the frustration, disappointment, or even resentment and anger of not being able to do the essentials or extras for others because you feel so taxed. Are you nodding your head? Well, as a doer, I sat down and looked at my current circumstance and how I am approaching it now compared to how I would have approached it even as recent as 3 years ago. I'm getting so much experience in this right now. Not what I asked for or wished for, but as my mom always says, you might as well laugh as cry. Yes, Mom, but I've also learned it's important to allow both. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. This past week, I was talking with one friend about how I was getting so many new learnings through this painful and frustrating situation. I said, I want to bring good out of this crappy situation. I want to empower other women to not let a circumstance keep them down or hold them back. They jokingly offered that I definitely had content-rich soil and that I could be fruitful from that fertilizer in helping others. So I chose to laugh, as my mom suggested, by adding that we all know what fertilizer is made of. And I'll just leave that right there and carry on. Now, don't you find it interesting that when you are dealing with something, you start to notice it more around you? Some will say it's the law of attraction. Some will say it's the RAS, which is the reticular activating system in our brain. What do you think it is? Whatever the reason, I like to ask what it's in my life for. How can this be used to make me better, not bitter? How can I learn from this so I can save someone else from spinning? This topic has been showing up in my own self-coaching with private clients, friends, and in the 3-month Feel Light, Mind, and Body program. So hey, I decided to share parts of this subject with you, my podcast listener, as well as dive even deeper with the monthly Mastery Program members. So in this forum, let's talk about 3 ways you can make your thoughts less troublesome. Number 1, normalize that you are going to have positive and negative thoughts and feelings. Normalize that is okay, that you don't have to quickly get rid of them. If you tend to be a positive person, this is really going to feel uncomfortable. You may feel triggered. You may feel dysregulated. I know I do when my thoughts are troublesome. You may experience shame for thinking some of those thoughts. You might think that a good person shouldn't have those thoughts or feelings. And in case you need this reminder, you are normal. You are human. Have compassion for yourself, because unless you fall into the narcissistic category, you will first go to shame and blame. Healing never comes in the presence of judgment. It comes in the presence of love. Those troublesome thoughts will continue if you continue to layer more on top of what is already there by judging them. But if you meet them where they are at and ask what you can learn, look at where you need to take responsibility for what is yours along with what is within your control, and accept what isn't. I guarantee you that your thoughts will be less troublesome. Hear this familiar serenity prayer like you're hearing it for the very first time, and repeat it as needed this week. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Let that sink in and feel it in your heart. Number 2, many of my clients experience a light bulb moment when I tell them, hey, just because you have a thought or feeling, it doesn't mean you have to act from it. They're like, but it feels so automatic, or it's just like urgent that I need to do something about it. And yes, the survival part of your brain is doing its job of trying to protect you by getting you to react. But think about it. You are already doing this in some areas of your life. If we didn't pause, imagine the people that might have black eyes right now when you had that urge in the moment of conflict. My clients know that one of the tools we practice is hitting the pause button. You know that Staples easy button? Well, I think I need to get a pause, actual physical button created with Clarenda's empowerment coaching on it. What do you think? We get a release when we act on our thoughts and feelings, but it doesn't usually serve us well. It doesn't mean you can't still take action, but pause long enough to see if now is the time, or if it would serve you better to wait until you feel more in control after doing this next tip. Number 3, you have the power and ability to edit your thoughts. A thought is a sentence in your mind. That thought creates a feeling. Now, once you realize that, you might think, well, I never want to feel this bad again, so I'm just going to change my thought. It's not quite that easy. When I offer you this suggestion of editing your thoughts, I'm not talking about going from one extreme to the other. I'm talking about editing out the drama, the extra adjectives and qualifiers like always. They always do that. Or never. They never pick up after themselves. Or this one, my life will never be the same. So when I say editing your thoughts, I'm talking about asking yourself if there's a different way of looking at this situation as well. For example, yes, your life may never be the same, but don't stop there. What if it's about to get even better? And it's also okay to know that you might not be quite ready to even consider that yet, but just tuck it in your pocket so that you know you can do this. If you think you are ready now, and you want to lessen the feelings that are associated with the thought or thoughts, then start with a check-in to see if what you are thinking falls into the victim mentality, because that can leave you feeling pretty helpless and defeated. If you realize with the intentional check-in that, yep, you are seeing the other person as a villain and you are the victim, that's a great one to edit. You do not have to give your power away and fall into victim thinking or victim mentality, even if it feels very real and true. Know that it also doesn't mean that you haven't been wronged. You can think that and still choose to ask yourself, okay, what is my response going to be right now? Am I going to stay dormant, or am I going to show up for what is right? Reframe your thoughts to serve and support you. Find that inner peace from your source and remind yourself of that instead of what seems obvious and factual. It indeed could be factual, but how you are going to think about it is what will give you a peace and feeling of empowerment, not disempowerment. Depending on your situation, you may go in and out of this thinking at different times, all within 1 hour, all within a day, and that's okay. You don't stay there. That's the key. Get yourself out, use these tips, and edit your thoughts as needed. Someday, I may share the tumultuous circumstance I've been dealing with for quite some time. And today, as you are listening, I may indeed be having some troublesome thoughts as it is at its peak. Last night, tonight, and tomorrow night, I could be eating or drinking my face off, but I'm determined to not layer more suffering on top of my suffering. I know that would be a short-term fix and distraction, but leave me feeling drained. I need to be healthy and strong, mentally, spiritually, and physically. I have planned ahead for a way to unwind and process my day. I couldn't anticipate if I'd want to be alone with my journal and God, and I definitely will be missing my kitty Asha, purring by my side because she's so grounding. But I also didn't know if I would want to be with a friend, inside or outside. So I have someone on call. And most of all, I'm going to be compassionate and kind with myself. It's perfectly okay if I cry. It's very normal to feel all the negative emotions. I can sit with them and ride the waves. I don't want to suppress them or try to avoid them. However, as I do a thought download, I will edit out some of the drama that is bound to come up in a kind way. I will edit them slightly to neutralize where I can. You also may be dealing with something creating these thoughts this week. But if you're not, share this with someone you know who is. And keep this episode in mind to come back to when you are experiencing it. Similar times are inevitable. Troublesome thoughts and feelings are inevitable. But let's determine to make them less troublesome for us by not feeling bad about them. Being realistic, but also remembering what is right, pure, good, and true in our lives. I am so thankful for my faith, family, and friends, and I'm sure you are too. But don't make that mean that you need to jump right to, ooh, I should be feeling good right now. Nope. I don't expect to feel happy this week, and that's okay. It's one phase of life. But you know what? You can feel sad or mad and still laugh. Allow yourself to take in what is good about the day. I'm also getting out ahead of my day by going to bed earlier and getting up earlier to equip myself with quiet prayer, meditation time before I leave the house. That is where I draw my strength. I have 4 pages of scriptures to read every morning and night that empower me and calm my mind and spirit. I will work out to get the energy moving. Even if I only have time for 10 minutes, I'll take it. I'm sending a message to myself that I matter. I'll be sitting all day, so this is also being very kind to my body. And of course, I'll make sure my coffee is fully enjoyed and probably not decaf any of the 3 mornings. I'm letting you in a bit on my present ongoing circumstance because part of what makes me me, part of what Clarinda's Empowerment Coaching is about, is being authentic, loving, compassionate, and kind while still standing up for what is right and deserving. That is how we will feel lighter in our mind and therefore our heart and body. So let's you and I go into our day with a belief that we will have our own back, that we won't beat ourselves up with, I shouldn't think or feel that way, unless you really think you are wrong. If so, then you probably will be willing to change it and do the right thing that you know within, even if it's hard. Let's choose faith, not fear. I have a strong, solid belief that truth prevails, and that is going to serve and support me. So feel free to borrow it and make it also your belief this week. Time has got away from us, and I haven't mentioned as much as I wanted about how this compassion, allowing, and understanding can help you not gain weight during a stressful time. If you are one of my clients, make sure you dive into the community private group. Watch the course videos on feelings and dealing with urges. Or if you're in the monthly mastery, remember, tomorrow new content is released for March, and it is going to be on thought edits. So have fun with that module and the life application worksheet, and get ready to really make your thoughts less troublesome. For you, my faithful listener, and let's just pause for a sec. Can you believe we are already at episode number 16? I love it, and I hope you're loving this as well. But let me end with, if you are being hard on yourself and you feel like crap for feeling bad, then you will find ways to avoid feeling that way. You will try to feel better, whether that is eating something, cleaning, scrolling on social media, working, whatever. Most of these things aren't detrimental in and by itself. It's the reason behind why you are doing it that will create the problem long term. Because in doing these things, it will only temporarily give you relief with pleasure or distraction. After that, those thoughts and feelings will still be there. They will keep bubbling up until they get your full attention. So instead, apply the 3 ways I have shared today and see if you can feel a change in how you feel. My goal this week isn't to take leaps and bounds in my business. My goal is to support those who are already invested, and then personally to be able to accept how I feel and hold space for those uncomfortable thoughts and feelings. And you want to believe I'll also be asking for the bonus of peace, even in the uncertainty. I will tap into my true source, along with appreciating my earthly angel friends. How about you? How are you going to make your thoughts less troublesome? It could be simply acknowledging that they are troublesome and not trying to run away from them. I promise you that if you take care of yourself, you will be okay. I'm sending you so much love, and in doing so, I'm also feeling yours in return, and that feels good. I appreciate you, my friend, and I hope to connect this week on the socials. Now, do yourself the biggest favor. From love, take at least one action step from what you learned today. Knowledge without application won't give you the results that you desire. Let me know on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever, what you are choosing to do and when. And yes, please leave a podcast review wherever you are listening to this. When people read your words and can see themselves in them, then you are contributing to women empowering other women. And that feels amazing. You just might change or save a life today.